I'm 39 female, currently married to my husband, 42 male, Julius. Currently writing this in bed, alone, after a heated argument with my husband. He left to go to his brother's house. So for some context, my husband grew up in a pretty conservative religious household, while I grew up almost the opposite. This may or may not be the reason for this disagreement and lack of being able to see eye to eye. So here's the story. Last week, my daughter had a nasty ear infection, leading her to be on antibiotics for about a week. She was taking the liquid version, which is very foul tasting and very hard to convince her to take. In the past, she refused to try pills until this week, after countless tantrums over the antibiotics. We first started with small things, like a tiny cut-up piece of her vitamin gummy, then on to more solid things, such as larger but still small sprinkles. After we both gained some confidence, I had the great idea to give her one of my sugar pills out of my birth control packet, as I never actually take them, and I thought it would help her move from things she usually eats to real medicine, as sometimes there are mental blocks learned from experience. Also, sugar pills won't have any physical effect on her, like other medicines, so I thought it was a great idea. She managed to swallow it first go, and we were ecstatic. She grabs the pill packet and runs to her father to tell him about her accomplishment. He did not take it well at all. He walks into the kitchen fuming, shouting at me, asking what I was thinking and how stupid I am. I thought he misunderstood and thought that I gave her one of the real pills and was concerned about her health. So I explained to him about the sugar pills, but he replied with how that doesn't change anything, and I'm pretty much setting her up to be an easy woman, and that I'm normalizing intimacy at a young age. I was absolutely baffled by this accusation, but as I'm not the argumentative type, I just left the room and started crying. He soon ran off to his brother's house. He had never behaved in this way before, and I'm honestly crushed. I never explained what the pills do to my daughter, only that they were mommy's pills that she could not use without my permission, and that the white ones were the only safe ones for her to consume, just this one time for practice. I'm too embarrassed to talk to my close circle in case they have the same reaction, so I'm asking some strangers instead. Please let me know if I was in the wrong. Wow, what the ever-loving heck is up with him? And wow, is he setting her up to have some issues with body positivity and autonomy? I'm pretty surprised that you two have made this marriage work so far, with his views about women's health and about women, period. I find it hard to believe a husband could be this ridiculously unhinged about only one particular topic and has never gone off the rails before. Sheesh. Anyhow, this whole thing is silly. It was one sugar pill, one time. It's pretty much the smallest pill you can find. So I understand why you thought it was a good way to help her get over her fear. Personally, I wouldn't have thought about the sugar pills. I would have bought some Tic Tacs instead. However, you are not the idiot, and it sounds like your husband has some weird hang-ups surrounding birth control or intimacy that he needs to get over. Not only is he completely overreacting over a sugar pill your daughter knew nothing about, but he's also showing some concerning views over women's health that I would definitely be worried about. Besides, knowing about birth control is not inappropriate for a tween. Plenty of girls have started their periods, and birth control is often used to help with symptoms. Regardless of whether or not you think she's ready for the talk, assuming you haven't had that yet, his assumption that even knowing about birth control would influence her in such a way is a problem. Your daughter could possibly use a little education. Maybe throw the whole husband away. Agreed. I've always believed that as soon as someone is old enough to get pregnant, they need to know how not to get pregnant. Your husband has a daughter and a wife and needs to get his head out of the sand. These are important conversations to have with girls. Women's reproductive health is health care. I bet he also has hang-ups about his daughter using tampons. This needs to be nipped in the bud now, or he'll only become more controlling over her health care and maybe yours. Sorry for you and your daughter. She will have a nightmare of a time trying to have a dating life as she gets older. Small update. The comments have opened my eyes, and I know I'm responsible for doing something. I will talk to him and try my hardest to educate him, but if he's unwilling to listen and change his scary perspectives, some further actions will be taken. A lot are commenting about how I need to talk to my daughter about intimacy, protection, puberty, etc. I have tried, but she expressed how she wasn't comfortable just yet. I plan to wait, but you made me change my mind. Again, thank you to those who've opened my eyes and showed me my husband's actions were far from normal. I've been seeing Tasha, 29 female, for 2 years, and she stays here with me, 30 male, pretty often these days. I have a tween daughter, Anne, who I have on a week-on, week-off basis. Anne and Tasha do get along well, but I've noticed that the more Anne stays here, the more touched out she becomes, and she's losing patience quickly with my kid. Not in a mean way, but it's getting under my skin a lot. So, like my daughter loves people in general, she talks a lot, and to be fair, a lot of it is her friend drama. She also makes a point to want you to watch everything she's watching on her tablet, so frequently she'll come up and be like, "Watch this, it's so funny." And most of the time it's not even remotely funny. Still, she thinks it is, and just wants to include people. So at least 90% of the time that I have my daughter is quite literally a never-ending conversation with very little time between not talking. Tasha is an introvert and needs more space than the normal introvert, I've noticed. This is great on weeks that we don't have my daughter, because I love being able to sit here with her and just have a few hours without speaking at all. But that's not possible on the weeks that we have my daughter. So I picked up Anne on Sunday afternoon, and by yesterday morning, Tasha was acting weird. She said she didn't want to get up from bed to grab a coffee because as soon as Anne sees me in that kitchen, she's going to come and talk my ear off, and I don't want to deal with it today. I'd like to wake up in peace. Okay, whatever. I go get her a coffee and set Anne up on the couch with the TV going to give Tasha some peace. But 20 minutes later, Anne comes into our bedroom, sits on the edge of the bed, and says, "So what you guys doing?" Tasha just puts her coffee down and walks out of the room and says, "Showering." I go into the bathroom to ask if she's good because she's acting weird, and she goes, "No offense, but Anne is super annoying. I don't know how anyone can talk that much and not get tired of their own voice. Love her, but holy heck is she annoying." I told her she better never call my kid annoying again, and she just looked at me and said, "Literally, every freaking kid is annoying. I'm not being malicious. Your kid is annoying, and you know it." So I told her to leave. She packed everything she had here and took off without talking to Anne, who asked what was happening. She now refuses to answer any of my texts or calls and has blocked me on social. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot, or at least a little blind. I have a tween with ADHD who talks constantly. Even as his mother, who loves him completely, I get tired of hearing him, and he is annoying. I've been trying to teach him social cues, like when it's okay to talk and when he should be quiet. You're not helping your daughter by not setting boundaries for her. When she came into the bedroom, you should have told her that Tasha needed some quiet time and would come out and talk with her when she's ready. She's not a baby, but you're treating her like one. This level of needing constant interaction and feedback is normal and healthy for a younger child, but at her age, Anne needs to be learning how to entertain herself and give people space. And Tasha is entitled to her space in her own home, which she communicated to OP without getting into the no-win situation of parenting a child who isn't hers. OP chose to not set or enforce boundaries with Anne, setting everyone up for failure. I agree. When I have custody of my child, I just throw them on their tablet. and they aren't learning social cues. Shocked Pikachu face. Seriously, what the heck? Anne isn't a bad child, but she's at the point where she needs guidance as she starts to transition into the next phase of childhood and puberty. Tasha did everything right. She tried to avoid meeting Anne in the morning when she wanted peace. She later escaped the situation by going to the bathroom. OP pushed for an explanation, so she spoke her mind. You asked Tasha a question. You got the answer that sounds pretty accurate by your description, and you jumped down her throat. I would have left too. Your daughter is annoying me just reading this. Teach your kid basic boundaries. She wanted to wake up in peace, and your kid came into your bedroom and sat on the bed? That's awful. You must learn how to care for your next girlfriend's feelings. This is about me, 28 female, my husband's family, mom and dad, 50s, and 4 sons. I've been with son number 3 for 13 years. On to the issue. You know how most families have that one member who always has to cause trouble, make things difficult, stir the pot, etc., all while acting holier than thou. And my husband's family, that's his second oldest brother, Mark. Mark, 33, is a complicated guy. I've known him for 14 years now. There's a lot of good about him, but also a lot of not so good. He's pedantic, lazy, hypocritical, overly critical of others, very judgmental, and passionately loves trying to debate other people about anything under the sun at the drop of a hat. Every hill is his hill to die on, and according to him, he's never wrong. Even though according to Google, he has about a 25% batting average of being correct when he starts doggedly correcting people. He has no job, no partner, no kids, no real responsibility, and lives with his parents. The get out of jail free card is that since childhood, Mark has been unwell. He suffers from pretty crippling OCD, treatment-resistant depression, and his physical health is poor too. As a result, he was labeled the sickly one, and not much was expected. His behavior has ramped up over the last several months, so it's affecting the family dynamic pretty badly. He picks fights with the brother who converted to Islam, makes false assertions about Islam, and picking at Muslim beliefs. He belittles his mother and criticizes the state of the home, despite doing next to nothing to help out in the house due to germophobia. He ruins family night by starting debates about the dumbest crap and then getting belligerent and nasty when people challenge his usually incorrect assumptions. He has no problem calling us stupid, idiots, ignorant, dumb, and belittling our ideas and opinions if they don't align with his. He considers all opinions to be fact, and this gets largely excused by his parents because of his mental illnesses. I'm sick of it, but I love my husband's family and value our time together. I don't want to just be driven off by his behavior, so over the last several weeks, I've stopped putting up with it. Anytime he starts being rude, I point it out. Mark, you're speaking to your brother disrespectfully. Mark, no one has to be yelled at about whether a newt is an anthropoid. I've also started whipping my phone out and Googling all his dogged assertions. Every time Google has shown that he's wrong, I've loudly pointed it out to the entire room. This has the best success rate of getting him to drop whatever the issue is. 2 brothers have expressed gratitude and approval of me doing this. Recently, Mark told me I was being an idiot and policing him in his own home. I responded that I'm just no longer accepting his crappy behavior and that he should have learned how to interact with people before the age of 33. Am I the idiot for challenging his behavior, even though he's disabled and it contributes to said behavior? Not the idiot. You're not even being rude. You're just calling him out for being rude. It sounds like Mark treats people terribly. Mark is a grade A idiot who just happens to have OCD, depression, and poor physical health. He's not used to having someone challenge him. If it is his home, well, sorta, his parents' home, he could say you're not welcome to visit. Be careful it doesn't escalate into heavy arguments, or you might be seen as the bad guy. As his parents age and become less able to cope with him, what is the plan for Mark's long-term future? If he's never worked and sounds like he would struggle to maintain stable employment, how is he being supported financially? Where will he live when his parents are no longer capable of caring for him or are no longer here? These issues are better sorted now when everyone can make their wishes known. Do this soon, OP. Otherwise, you could wake up one morning to find Mark outside your home with his bags, with you and your partner being the ones expected to replace his parents. Good luck. My sister, 22, is starting med school in the fall. She's been dating Jack, 23, since high school. He's been in college for 5 years, changed his major twice, and only has an associate. We were having dinner to celebrate my sister, and my whole family was there. Jack told everyone at my sister's dinner that his parents told him they wouldn't pay for his schooling anymore. My sister started to comfort and reassure him. It made me angry that she had to do that at her own party. I told the boyfriend I could help him with his resume, but he said he didn't need to work on his resume since he didn't have his degree yet. I asked what exactly his plan was, and he said he didn't have one yet. I changed the topic to my sister's upcoming trip with her friends. Jack then uses this to talk about how he wants to apply to study abroad, but is unsure how he'll pay for it. I said I've always found the best way to make money is with a job. He glared at me, and my dad changed the topic. After dinner, Jack approached me and asked if I had a problem. I said I didn't appreciate him tainting my sister's event with his sob story about how he couldn't get a 4-year degree in 5 years. He said I was a hypocrite with a useless art degree that doesn't even use my degree in my job. I said that's irrelevant because I have a job, and he should probably get one too, because my sister's a student and can't afford to carry this worthless idiot. He called me a self-righteous idiot and left. I've been thinking about it, and I think I overreacted, and I could have just blown him off and not talked to him when he came up to me. I doubt cussing at him will convince him, so I probably shouldn't have done that. Am I the idiot for telling my sister's boyfriend he should probably get a job? Not the idiot for interrupting Jack's pity party. Your sister will meet someone in medical school and break up with Jack. It's a tale as old as time. I've seen way too many. He'll probably try to break her self-esteem so she becomes dependent on him and doesn't break up with him. Be available to help her out when the time comes. Don't let him isolate her. The dude is bad news for your sister. He's an idiot hoping for a payday from your sister's future career, and to get it, he might very well resort to trying to convince her she's not good enough to date a true peer and needs to settle for him. Be ready for that possibility to help her through it. 100% this. He wants that doctor's money. Sister needs a wake-up call and dump this loser. He's looking for his next victim to mooch off, and her family is in his sights. You're right. He should get a job. Millions of people have gotten jobs while in school to help pay for their education. And considering studying abroad when he has no funds for his education? LMAO. I disagree. OP's response reeks of elitism and judgment. Calling him worthless is wild. OP, you are the idiot. Switching majors several times is normal, and it sounds like he's just indecisive and unsure of what he wants as a future career. You didn't have to be a judgmental idiot about it. A lot of smart, driven folks get stuck in community college out of high school because they don't get a lot of help in figuring out the transition to a university, which sounds like what's happened to your sister's boyfriend. It's a super common occurrence. His academic success, or lack thereof, does not make him more or less of a person, and you 100% are being a self-righteous idiot. He's correct.